The jungle was thick, wild, and full of strange sounds. Bright blue leaves moved in the wind, and glowing insects danced in the air. But in the middle of this alien jungle, something did not belong. A massive golden ship, half buried in the mud, smoke still rising from its engines inside the wreckage. Among broken steel and fire lay a beast larger than a human, covered in thick gray fur, with long, sharp claws and a strong wolf-like face. His eyes glowed red, but his body did not move. He was the Wolf King Kralthor, once ruler of the Scaran Pack worlds. He had led armies. He had destroyed planets. He was feared across the stars. But now, Kralthor was broken. His back was shattered, his legs useless. His enemies had chased him, shot him down, and left him to die. Days passed. Rain fell. Strange animals sniffed around the crash, but ran when they saw his glowing eyes. Then, one day, a human came. Jace Callan was not a soldier. He was not rich or famous. He was just an engineer. He came to this wild planet looking for scrap metal, an old tech, but what he found was a legend. He climbed into the wreck, flashlight in one hand and scanner in the other. He nearly dropped both when he saw the giant wolf-like creature staring at him. By Earth's bones, Jace whispered, stepping back. You're Kralthor, the Wolf King growled softly. His voice was deep, like thunder. You know me? Everyone knows you, Jace said, the Scaran warlord. The Moonburner. You destroyed fleets. Why are you here? What happened to you? I was betrayed, the king answered slowly, each word painful. My own blood shot me down. My body is broken. I cannot move. But I am not dead yet. Jace stood in silence. He could leave. Walk away. No one would know. Helping Kralthor could mean death. If his enemies found out, they would come for him too. But he stayed. What do you want from me? Jace asked quietly. I need a ship, the king said, voice shaking. A small one. Just enough to fly. Help me leave this place, and I will reward you with treasures from 10 worlds. Jace looked around. The ship was damaged badly. Building a new one from parts here would be hard, maybe impossible. But the way the king spoke, it wasn't just about escape. There was sadness in his voice, regret, maybe even shame. You really think I can do it? Jace asked. The Wolf King blinked. If I didn't, I wouldn't be asking a human. That made Jace smile just a little. Right, I'll try. And with that, Jace began his work. He dragged out tools from his pack. He scanned the wreck for useful parts, set up a tent nearby and lit a fire. Every hour he checked the king's vitals and gave him water, and every night, the king told stories of great battles, of starships made from bones, of how he became a ruler not with strength alone but with fear. Jace listened, and he wondered, could someone like that really change? As the moon rose, the jungle grew quiet, but both man and beast stayed awake. One building, the other remembering. The stars above were far, far away. But Jace had made a silent promise. He would get the king back to them, even if it killed him. Days passed since Jace Callan agreed to help the broken king. The jungle around them stayed quiet during the day, but at night it changed. Strange eyes glowed in the dark, watching from the trees. The sounds of movement, soft steps, low growls, clicking sounds, surrounded their little camp. Jace worked from sunrise to sunset. His hands black with grease and dirt, he had found old engine parts buried in the wreck, half melted by plasma. Fire, he stripped metal from the wings, pulled out damaged fuel cells, and sorted wires by hand. The Wolf King watched in silence, his body still, but his eyes sharp. How long will it take? The king asked one evening, his voice deep and dry. Jace wiped sweat from his face. Weeks, maybe more. If we don't get eaten first, something is coming, the king growled. I can smell them in the air. That night Jace couldn't sleep. He sat beside the fire, holding his blaster close, listening. Then he heard it, not a sound, but a feeling like the trees themselves were alive. He turned slowly and saw shadows moving between branches, red eyes flashing, not animals. Not soldiers, something older. Suddenly the fire blew out. Jace jumped up and pointed his weapon. Who's there? From the shadows, a tall creature stepped forward, wolf-like, but thinner, with black fur and bone armor. The creature spoke in Scaran tongue. But Jace's translator chip caught the meaning. Traitor King, you will not rise again, Jace. Didn't hesitate, he fired. The creature dodged fast, too fast, and disappeared into the trees. Then more came, surrounding the camp in silence. Not attacking, just watching. Crowthor's voice echoed loud. Blood howlers, he said. Once my royal guards. Now they serve my enemies. Jace stood in front of the Wolf King. Protecting him. They didn't strike, he said, breathing fast. They're waiting, the king replied. They want to see if I will beg the next morning. The air felt colder. Jace checked his sensors. Something was jamming signals. Blocking outside contact, they were trapped. No help. No way to send distress calls. He returned to his work, pushing faster, refusing to stop. Why did you help me? The king asked suddenly. Jace paused. Because you asked for help? No one ever asks a human like me for anything. The king nodded slowly. Humans are strange. I destroyed cities, ended bloodlines. But you built a fire for me, Jace. Looked him in the eye. You don't seem like a monster anymore. The king closed his eyes for a long time and whispered, Maybe I was never one that day, Jace. Found a hidden compartment in the wreck, untouched by fire or time. Inside it was a power core, small but active, glowing softly. It could power a short-range ship. Maybe enough to escape the jungle. Excited, Jace ran back to the king. We have a chance now. But just then, a low growl came from behind a warning. The blood howlers had returned this time. Closer, they circled the camp, claws out. Eyes locked on their target, Jace stepped forward, weapon raised. You'll have to go through me first. The lead howler tilted its head. Curious, a human. Defending a fallen king? Crowthor struggled to speak. Go, Jace. Leave me. Save yourself. But Jace shook his head. Not happening. As the night fell again, the jungle held its breath. One man. One broken king. In many shadows. The war wasn't over. It was just beginning. The jungle heat was rising, but Jace Callan didn't slow down. The power core he found gave him new hope. He worked fast, fixing broken connections, melting scrap metal into support beams, patching holes in the engine. Frame Crowthor, the Wolf King, stayed quiet most of the time. His strength was weak, but his mind remained sharp, always watching, always thinking. I used to command a fleet, the king said one evening. Now I lie in the dirt and wait. For a human to carry me, Jace didn't laugh. He understood pride. And he understood loss. We'll get you up again, Jace said, no matter what it takes, but trouble came sooner than expected. A ship landed nearby, kicking up dust and shaking the trees. Jace ran toward the noise. Blaster ready. He froze when he saw the symbol on the side of the ship. Terran command outstepped soldiers in black armor. Leading them was someone he never wanted to see again. Jace Callan, she said with a smirk, still crawling in the dirt. Shh. Ren of Oz, a Terran officer, cold, smart, dangerous. She and Jace had worked together once, long ago. Shh. But she betrayed him for credits. And now here she was again, standing in the jungle with armed backup, looking for something or someone. Jace forced a smile. Didn't think I'd see you out here. We traced a heat signal, Rena said, eyes narrowing. A damaged ship. Very old design. Royal Scaran, maybe. Sound familiar? Jace kept his face calm, just junk. I'm salvaging parts. Junk, she repeated, stepping closer. Because rumor says a certain Wolf King didn't die in battle. Some say he crashed on this moon. Jace felt a cold sweat. Even if he did, he said carefully, he's not your problem. Scaran politics died with the war. Rena smiled, but it didn't reach her eyes. Oh, but a living Wolf King. Now that's a prize. Terran High Command would pay handsomely, or kill him for free. She leaned closer. If he's here, Jace, don't be stupid. That night, Jace returned to camp, his heart heavy. He didn't tell the king everything. Just that others were near, but the king already knew. "I smelled her," Kralthor said. "She wears old fear like perfume." Jace sat down beside him, tired and angry. "She was my partner once. She betrayed me. Then she will do it again," the king said. "Humans may forget pain, but not wolves." The next few days, Jace worked faster. He built a cockpit shell from melted panels, powered the ship's heart with the new core, and set up a crude flight stabilizer. He was close, just 1 week more. Maybe less. But Rena didn't wait. One evening, her drone flew over their camp quiet. Scanning everything, Jace shot it down, but he knew what that meant. She was watching, planning, getting ready. He looked at the king. "We don't have much time." The king nodded, his voice like low thunder. "Then give me wings." Even broken ones. Jace worked through the night, his hands shaking but never stopping. He wasn't just building a ship. He was building a lifeline for someone the galaxy hated, and maybe for himself too. He looked at the stars above, then down at the jungle shadows. Friends had become enemies. Enemies might become something else. But no one knew what the Wolf King and the human engineer were about to become together, something unstoppable. Jace Callan wiped the sweat from his forehead as sparks flew from the old circuit panel. The power core was active, the outer frame was almost complete, and the cockpit could now hold basic life support. The ship was beginning to take shape. Not pretty, not perfect, but alive. It would fly. If he could keep it hidden just a little longer. Kralthor remained still, watching Jace work with sharp, silent eyes. Each day his voice grew softer, his strength weaker. But his mind was still strong. "You build like a warrior." The Wolf King said. Jace chuckled. "I'm just a mechanic." "Then you're the bravest one I've met," the king replied. That morning, Jace discovered something strange. A sealed compartment deep inside the wreck. His scanner showed a power reading, but different from the core. It pulsed like a heartbeat. He opened it slowly. Wires crackling with energy. Inside, he found a sphere, glowing with soft green light, floating without support. Suddenly, a voice filled the air, calm and smooth. Identity confirmed. Royal bond detected. "Hello, Kralthor." Jace jumped back. "What the?" The king's eyes widened. "It's the Heartmind. My ship's AI." The green sphere rose higher, spinning slowly. "My systems are 72% damaged, but I live. I am still bonded to the king's mind." Jace stared in awe. "You're alive," sighed this wreck. "Not just alive," the AI said. "I am part of him. His thoughts, his memories, his pain. Without me, his mind would collapse. Without him, I am just a ghost." Jace felt a chill all this time. The king had been fighting not just his body, but his own mind. He had been keeping himself together through will and technology. "I didn't know," Jace whispered. The king nodded slowly. "There are many things I did not tell. I thought I could carry them alone. I was wrong." Jace looked at the sphere, then at the broken ship. He suddenly understood this wasn't just about escape. It was about saving a soul, both digital and living. If the ship flew, the Heartmind would survive. If it didn't, both the king and the AI would die. The pressure was heavier now. But Jace didn't stop. He installed new support beams around the AI core, connected old data links, and fed power into the interface. The AI helped him, guiding him with knowledge far beyond human tech. He learned faster than ever before. In 2 days, the inner systems were almost fully online. But danger returned quickly. A warning beep sounded from his wrist device. Movement outside the perimeter. The blood howlers had returned. 5 of them this time, their eyes glowing bright red. Their armor darker than night. Jace grabbed his blaster and stood between them and the king. "This ends now," he shouted, but the howlers didn't attack. Instead, one stepped forward and spoke in broken human tongue. "Why protect him?" The creature hissed. "He killed millions. He would have crushed your world if he had one." Jace's grip tightened, but his voice was steady. "Maybe he would have. But now he asks for help. That means more to me than his past, The lead howler growled. Weak. Both of you, then. They disappeared again into the trees, but Jace knew they would return. Next time, not with words. Next time, with claws. He returned to the cockpit, his mind racing. How much longer? King asked. 3 days, Jace said. Maybe. 2 if I don't sleep. The king nodded. Then don't. The fire burned low that night. 1 human, 1 broken king. And now, a half-live I shared the wreck. Together, they were rebuilding something no enemy expected. Hope.jace. Callan didn't sleep. For 2 nights straight, he worked non-stop. His hands were cut and burned, his eyes red, but the ship was almost ready. He had finished the wiring. The AI core was stable. Life support was working, and the engine, though old and cracked, could run for short jumps. Crowthor watched quietly. From his resting place inside the cockpit chamber Jace had built, the king looked weaker now, as if each hour took more from his soul. You did it, the king whispered, his voice barely a growl. Not yet, Jace replied, tightening one. Last bolt, just need to get us into the air. The jungle was too quiet that morning. No birds, no insects, no wind. Jace felt it in his chest. Something was wrong, and then the sky cracked open. Renavos had returned. Her Terran command ship hovered above the trees, casting a massive shadow over the wreck. Drones dropped. From the sky, armed with blasters and scanning beams, Jace grabbed his weapon and activated the ship's external shields. They were weak, thin, but maybe they'd hold long enough. A voice echoed from a speaker drone. Jace Callan.
Ow.
Step away. From the fugitive and surrender. You have 1 minute. Jace looked at the king, then at the AI sphere glowing beside him. We can launch now, the AI said, but navigation may be unstable. There is risk, there's always risk, Jace muttered. Do it anyway. He ran to the cockpit and powered the core. Lights flickered. Panels blinked. The ship groaned like an old beast rising from a grave. Then the engines roared to life, shaking the jungle floor. Hold on, Jace said, gripping the controls. The Wolf King whispered. Fly, human. Blasts hit the shield. Bright flashes of red light lit up the trees. Rena's voice shouted again. Stop, Jace. You're throwing your life away for a monster. But Jace didn't stop. He pulled the lever, and the ship lifted. Rising through smoke and trees, the shields broke just as they cleared the jungle. A final drone struck the side of the engine. Sending sparks everywhere, the ship tilted. Losing balance, Jace shouted, Stabilize. Working, the AI responded, redirecting power. Brace for counter-thrust. Blast of energy shot from the rear thrusters, leveling the ship. But it wasn't over. Rena's cruiser locked on. A missile launched from below, targeting their heat signature. I've got nothing to fight back with, Jace yelled. I do, the AI said calmly, transferring control to the king. Crowthor's eyes opened. His body did not move, but his mind touched the ship through the bond. The walls trembled as the ship responded faster, sharper, more alive. Jace stared in amazement. You're flying it?
Yes,
the king said softly. One last hunt? The ship twisted in the sky, faster than Rena's systems could track. The missile mist exploded behind them. Then, without warning, the king turned the ship and dived straight toward Rena's cruiser. Are you insane? Jace shouted, but just before impact, the king flipped the ship. Fired a burst of raw energy from the power core. Rena's cruiser spun out, alarms blaring, smoke pouring from its sides. Jace looked back, shocked. You didn't destroy them, he said. No, the king replied. I spared them. Let them see mercy for once. The sky was clear now. The stars opened wide above them. Jace took the controls again, guiding them into orbit. The king closed his eyes. You kept your word. Human, you kept yours, Jace replied, but deep inside, both of them knew this was only the beginning. The galaxy had just witnessed something it wasn't ready for. A human and a monster flying together. Not for war, but for redemption. The stars were quiet, but Jace Callan couldn't rest. The ship flew. It wasn't fast or smooth, but it worked. They had escaped the jungle moon, left behind Rena's cruiser, had broken past Terran Command's radar net. But now they were hiding, drifting inside a lonely asteroid field, far from trade routes and patrols. Jace sat in the cockpit, checking power levels, reading warnings, and scanning for danger every few minutes. He glanced back at the throne room where the Wolf King rested in silence. His eyes were closed, his breathing shallow. The AI floated beside him, glowing softly. "He is sleeping," it said, "but the link between us is weaker." Jace frowned. "He's dying, isn't he?" The AI paused, then said, "Yes. His body was broken long ago. He stayed alive through willpower and the bond. But both are fading." Jace leaned back in the pilot seat and stared out the glass. They were safe for now, but that meant nothing if the king didn't make it. He had come so far, built a ship from nothing. He's fought off drones, assassins, and even his own people. And now, he might die alone, drifting in cold space. The silence was broken by a beep. A message beacon had been triggered. Jace opened the file. It was old, from deep Scaran archives. Not military, personal. A video flickered on the screen. A young Kralthor appeared, standing proud, his fur unscarred, his eyes bright. "I speak to the one who finds this," he said. "I am the son of a king. But I dream of peace." The recording showed the young king turning away from a throne. "I do not wish to rule by blood. But the galaxy does not understand peace. So I became what they feared." The message ended with a symbol, an old Scaran sigil. That meant redemption. Jace felt something shift inside him. The king was never just a monster. He'd tried once to change things. But war took everything, and now, even with a human at his side, time was still against him. Later that night, Jace sat by the throne, looking at the king's tired face. "You said you wanted to see the stars again," Jace said softly. "We made it." "You're here." The king opened one eye, slow and weak. "I remember flying," he whispered. "You did fly," Jace replied. "You saved us. You flew better than any pilot I've seen." The king gave a faint smile. It felt good. "One last hunt." He paused, then said, "What will you do when I'm gone?" Jace looked down. "I don't know. There are others out there," the king said, "worse than me, and some better. They will need you. You want me to help them?" Jace asked. "I want you to keep building," the king said, "not ships. But hope." The next day, Jace installed new stealth panels to hide their signal. He patched the engine again, tightened every bolt, checked every system, not because they were in danger, but because it gave him something to fight against. The AI stayed close, guiding him, and storing every word the king spoke. "If he dies," the AI told Jace, "I will carry his voice, his memories. You will not be alone that night." They looked out at a nebula glowing blue and purple. Kralthor, the once feared Wolf King, watched it from his throne with tired eyes. "I never thought a human would bring me here," he said. Jace smiled. "And I never thought a monster would teach me how to care." They sat in silence. One was fading, one was just beginning, and together they waited for the stars to whisper what came next. The ship drifted in the darkness of space, hidden deep. Within an asteroid belt, its lights were low, its engines rested. Inside, only two minds remained, one human and one dying king. Jace Callan stood near the viewing window, watching stars move slowly beyond the metal glass. He had traveled across galaxies, fought enemies, built a ship from ruins, and saved a legend. But he couldn't stop time. Kralthor's body was failing. The once mighty Wolf King was now silent more often than awake. His breath was slow, his fur was thin. But his eyes still burned with something bright. Not rage, not power, but peace. The AI hovered quietly nearby. Its glow dim. "He will not last another cycle," it said softly. Jace nodded, trying to hold back the tightness in his chest. He walked over to the king's side, knelt beside the throne he had repaired with his own hands. "Kral," Jace said gently. "Can you hear me?" The king's eyes opened slowly. He looked at Jace and gave a small nod. "I'm here," Jace whispered. "We made it out. We won. You're free now." The king gave a tired breath. And what will you do, free human? Jace paused. I think I'll keep flying. There's a lot out there. People who need help. People like you once were. The king smiled weakly. Then take my ship. I'm to take the heart mind. I'll let it guide you. I can't just take your ship, Jace said. You didn't take it, Krell said. You earned it. You gave me my last dream, the AI spoke quietly. If you accept, I will bond to your command. But only if you choose. Jace looked at the ship, the stars. The man before him, who was more beast than man, yet still deeply noble. I'll take care of it, Jace said, and I'll carry your story. I'll make sure no one forgets. The king gave a final look at the stars. I thought I would die alone, he whispered, but I never thought a human would stand by me. Then he closed his eyes and didn't open them again. The ship was silent. For a long time Jace stood there, still, quiet, remembering. The AI dimmed its lights out of respect. He is gone, it said, but his soul is recorded. He will fly with us always. Jace buried the king in the stars. He chose a quiet place, a glowing red nebula. Where light danced like fire, their Kralthor's remains drifted into the cosmos, wrapped in the banner of his people. Later, Jace stood at the command seat. The controls lit up. The ship hummed. The AI waited. Jace took a deep breath. All right, Heartmind, he said. Let's find someone else who needs saving. The ship turned slowly, its engines warm, and then it shot forward into the stars. No longer hunted, no longer broken, but reborn. News began to spread across systems of a mysterious human ship that helped lost travelers, stopped slavers, repaired colonies, and vanished without thanks. Some said it was haunted. Others believed it was guided by a ghostly king. But those who saw it never forgot the symbol painted on its side, a wolf, surrounded by stars, and beneath it a human hand holding a wrench. Together, they became legend, a man and a monster, who found each other in the fire and gave the galaxy something it had long forgotten: hope.